TGIF. It's Rumor and Innuendo Friday. I'm Dominic D'Angelo, SEScoops.com, adfreeshows.com. Little bit wired today, had a lot of coffee. I figured out I'm not a very good producer, and I am here, though, with Robert Karpelis, WWE Creative _ish. Robert, man, happy Friday to you, dude.
Dom, you are the best producer in the business, guys. What you want to do right now is when you're finished with listening to this episode of Rumor and Innuendo, streaming on everywhere except Dominic D'Angelo's X account because he forgot to upload it onto his own page, go and listen to this week's episode of Wrestle Roasts. Peek behind the curtain where there is no curtain is after we finished recording the show, there was a little snippet that Don was supposed to take to move to the front of the show. Not only did he not do that, he left in the entirety of Dan St. Germain trying to record it and then figure out how to turn the recording off. Guys, it is like listening to your dad try to figure out how technology works. Go out of your way and listen to that when you're done, but not yet. We're here now. We got a packed Friday. We will say hi to some of the folks here. Joseph Wade Walters, good morning, my dudes. Time to wheel out, brawl out 2022 footage.
That might be a little more intense than what we saw for sure for All In.
Dre Owen says, just made it. Lunch and RNI Friday. Perfect combo. Why did I not save that for later when we got to do the factor read? Antonio Santos says, happy Friday. Talking Twins says, kudos to Dom for asking Tony Khan the questions that needed to be asked. We are going to get to the entirety of the Tony Khan press conference. It's just nice to have a co-host who was even invited to those. But probably not for much longer, but we're going to break all that down. But Dom, where are we starting today?
Yeah, so Friday night, it's SmackDown, and guess what? It's in Pittsburgh, and guess what? I'm going to be there.
SmackDown. I didn't realize SmackDown's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's in Pittsburgh, the Steel City, baby, 412 for life. But yeah, we have the undisputed Universal Championship #1 contenders match, LA Knight taking on AJ Styles. Also listed, we have the WWE Women's Championship. Bayley is defending her championship against Naomi. And then on top of that, we have a SmackDown Tag Team #1 contendership match. The Street Profits versus Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate versus Angel and Humberto versus Authors of Pain. And so that's the card that we have at the moment. I'm assuming, Robert, we will probably get new tag team titles too for SmackDown. What do you kind of expect for tonight here?
So there's a number of different table setting situations that they have here for this episode of SmackDown. First and foremost is determining who Cody's #1 contender is going to be. So guys, let's pretend and be surprised when it's AJ Styles. There is no way it's going to be Cody versus LA Knight. And I'm not saying that because I don't think LA Knight is talented. Read into that what you will. But realistically, you need Cody going up against someone who is capable in ring, someone who is absolutely an established heel, and someone who, when you see it on the marquee, the audience is firmly behind Cody. There are some heels that are cool heels that fans are going to want to cheer. That's not AJ Styles. That's not Mr. Flat Earth, Mr. TNA. This is a pitch right down the middle. This is a solid ground rule double. I'm excited to see where we get with it. I think that it's a WrestleMania rematch, which is something they're able to advertise. It's AJ kind of getting his win back. If it were me, I would want to see the OC, the brothers, the Good Brothers, all get back together for this, because you need guys for Cody to go through. We've kind of seen on the other channel, once you have your champion and challenger set, there's only so many times you can do a face off before you're repeating yourself. Elsewhere, yes, we're going to get the Bayley Naomi match. This is probably to set up Tiffany Stratton stepping in as the #1 contender. As far as the tag situation goes, it's going to be Waller and Theory. So you need babyface teams. You need people that folks are going to be excited about. I could see it being the Street Profits. I could see it being Dunn and Bate. I could see Dom grabbing Marcus from the crowd, and then we get the D'Angelo brothers in there. But the last component on this episode of SmackDown, the thing I'm probably most excited to see, is where we go next with the Bloodline.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. When I was looking at what they had previewed, and they didn't mention anything to that. It dawned on me. I was like, wait, we still got like Tamatonga, Solo, all that stuff going on. I was like, dang, this is going to be a good show. And I think about what you're mentioning with AJ and LA Knight. Yeah, it's got to be like a pretty surefire bet. AJ's going to win this one. But I would like kind of weighing out both of them too. I was like, you know what, LA Knight up against Cody from a promo and exchange standpoint sounds very intriguing to its own right. Now the match itself could be a little different, but AJ's the surefire bet where it's like that's the one you got to roll with, and I think creates the most intrigue for Cody starting off as the champion. So,
Well, it's like Ken right here in the comments says, "How long before the Cody heel turn?" They are going to stave that off as
yes,
long as they can. So, giving him heels that the audience is not going to support is absolutely going to help Cody. And AJ Styles right now has embraced his role as the traditional heel. I like seeing it. I think the match will be good. I hope that they're able to avoid a little too much of the Bullet Club references,
a little
but
bit, yeah,
we'll see. I think the match will be fun. It's the Backlash pay-per-view premium live event. Wow, the PLE in
PLE.
France. You said belt like 30 times the other day, man. Get off my back. Uh, but I think it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to see those guys kind of settle into it a little bit. It's not a high pressure situation for Cody. It's not quite like carrying WrestleMania. We know on the Raw side, Jey Uso and Damian Priest, the crowd's going to be super into that. We'll probably get a couple more match like situations shaping out here. There's still plenty of guys coming off the fallout from last week where we got to do something with Kevin Owens. I don't know if Orton's bus is going to be able to make the trip over to France, so I don't know if he's going to be there. You still got Lashley floating around, as well as Karrion Kross, Rey Mysterio. The depth of talent on SmackDown,
Nuts.
it's kind of insane. And I know we're going to realign stuff with the draft, but for right now, for this week's episode, Dom, you're getting a stacked SmackDown.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, and it's you know, when we're in this in between this purgatory of the draft and WrestleMania and all that stuff, and you're kind of waiting for all that to come out. This is pretty well done, laid out for not. I don't want to call it filler because I think it's a little bit better than that. It's like more so, you're getting a meat sandwich here. Meat sandwich. Hey, we'll plug that later on.
It's a meat sandwich. It's definitely not filler. The advantage that they have is that they know every opportunity they get with a PLE, they want to deliver. And guys,
Mm.
when you get that opportunity and you want to deliver, can we talk about our friends at Blue Chew? This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex. Guys, remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Visit BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Best part, it's all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Dom knows all about awkward conversations.
Oh,
He was on the Tony Khan media conference yesterday, and the beauty of Blue Chew, if he would have popped one of these, he would have been ready to go in spite of having to listen to Tony Khan's
who
awkward
says I
answers.
didn't?
And that makes this so much worse. And I'm so happy you did that, Dom. Guys, Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code RUMOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code RUMOR to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode of Rumor and Innuendo. And what better segue than that than to give a shout out to our good friend, the Blue Meanie. He sent a good day, fellas message out there. Meanie probably still recovering from WrestleMania week. Dude hosted like 1,000 tours. Meanie Mania.
Getting married. You got married.
Getting married. Well, if it's the third most important thing. uh, don't let Mrs. Maney hear that. Definitely the number one there, but
Yes.
we're also not leveraging that to a blue chew note here.
No doubt about it.
Help that Heffron's got the response here. Said, Blue Meanie said Dom got a blue chew stuck in his throat and got a stiff neck. Your neck may have been stiff, Dom, but your lips were working, and you fired off an aggressive question to Mr. Tony Khan.
Yes. So the Dynasty media call took place yesterday after this show aired, and
which I love that if you don't say that, people think you're talking about like the old soap opera.
Yeah,
like they got on the night times. It was the first they were talking Dallas, and then they were talking Dynasty, and then who shot JR, and just Jim Ross comes limping.
The previous episode.
I got a book. I've been doing this for 50 years.
Yeah, but so yeah,
I just like doing the Jim Ross.
Grumble. I know it is a good time. I'm always for impressions, Robert. Good or bad, I'm for them. We did have the media call, and I was first in line, and I asked Tony Khan about airing the footage, and basically what I did, I tried to be diplomatic about it and say, like, obviously it's tying into a storyline, but it was universally panned, a lot criticized online. What do you understand the criticism, and what do you feel about airing that footage, and when in your place in your head, what were you thinking about that? Basically, he just said, well, it was about making ratings. I am beholden to employees, a lot of employees, and giving TBS what they want is what I wanted to do. And they were very happy with those results, he basically said. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he conveyed. And then we get the ratings, and they're not very good this week.
So it's not even that. It's the fact that his answer was, we wanted to give TBS ratings, which means we're doing anything we can to draw eyeballs in. And that's a very dangerous, slippery slope to start going down. Mm-hmm. Because, again, it's signaling a message to your talent that we don't have faith that what you guys are putting on is necessarily going to draw in the audience. It's shock TV. It's attitude era crash television, Vince Russo stylings, which has a time and place. But when you're relying on gimmicks, when you're relying on shock value, you lean more into WWE circa 2003. The real desperation where it was, we're going to promote HLA. We're going to promote hot lesbian action because we want to get eyeballs to tune in. When they would do that Confidential show. I remember the WWE Confidential show.
With Mean Gene.
They with Mean Gene, and they aired the actual 911 call that Lex Luger made for Miss Elizabeth. And it's going to draw some sort of an eyeball. It's going to get somebody to tune in and watch, but it's not for a good reason. And it's not to stick around and watch your product. So I hope that the short-term positive works out for him in the long run. It felt super short-sighted to me, but clearly Tony either seems happy with it or he's no selling your question, Dom. Either way. Oh, and David Roberts brings up the Kelly's expose, the WWE ECW. Yeah. Oh, not only that, they did a segment where they're like, "Oh, we're going to do a strip poker segment." Go back 10 years prior on WWE TV, they teased a Sunny sex tape with Tickle Me Elmo. What? Real things that have happened, guys. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll say it's a thing. It's a clip. I can hear Todd Pettingill's voice in my head right now. I love Pettingill. I don't care for anybody's money. Pettingill was the best.
Oh, he was
in that little window of time.
Yes.
By the way, that was the real Master Control when they used to do WWF Mania, and he'd be like walking around. When I first got the tour, and I'm like walking around, I'm like, this is where they shot Mania. And people looked at me like, don't tell anybody that ever.
Speaking of Pettingill, he would do the impressions. He would do the Archie Bunker thing, and a lot of the time, I remember.
Okay, media call. So this is the part of the show where I looked at the rundown, and it's literally just bullet points without any context.
No context whatsoever.
I'm going to be sort of responding in real time here for what he's got to say. So, Dom, fire away.
Yes. Well, I do hope somebody does follow up with Tony Khan about the ratings and stuff like that at the Dynasty press conference afterwards. in person. We'll see, though. Khan was asked about Punk's claims during a recent interview that he had to take care of all aspects of his triceps injury he suffered at September's 2022 All Out pay-per-view, and whether AEW had a policy to cover any of those expenses for their talent. Khan said they typically cover those expenses for injuries suffered in AEW and would be surprised to hear if they didn't do that for Punk. It didn't sound accurate to him, and he offered to reimburse him if that was the case. So
I would be surprised if CM Punk was talking about a medical procedure that was done and he was not pinpoint accurate on that podcast. Hopefully he learned his lesson from the Colt Cabana situation. That was sort of what sparked the lawsuit that sparked the other lawsuit, was talking about the medical treatments he was given. So I have a feeling Punk is probably accurate. Cheers to Tony if he's going to reimburse him for it.
Yeah.
But also, I said this after the press conference they did back in December, where he was getting questions about the Chris Jericho NDA stuff. Someone needs to brief him in advance. He needs to be prepared about what questions he's going to be asked, so he has a canned response. He knew he was going to get asked that footage question, that ratings question. You needed a better soundbite. You needed something, because it's gotcha journalists like Dominic D'Angelo that are gonna bring you down.
Oh man, I do. That's the thing, is I'm not about gotcha. I'm about,
yeah. You know why I know that? Because you didn't introduce yourself as Rumor and Innuendo's Dominic D'Angelo. You're like, at free shows, Robert, you were hiding in the massive shadow of Conrad Thompson.
No,
in the largest shadow of human history, the Yokozuna-esque shadow of our impresario, Conrad Thompson.
Let me say this. In my defense, they announce what outlet you are. So
you could have corrected him, Dom. You could have been like, hey.
Excuse me. No, this is Rumor and Innuendo, Dominic, from ad-free shows. That's how I go by.
All right. What else did they talk about on this media call that's supposed to be about selling their PLE?
Right.
Sorry. Blue Meanie had one more great follow-up gag on this, which was someone needs to name their finisher the Falcon Crest. Kids, if you don't understand that, use the Google machine. Go down a rabbit hole of nightly soaps. Anyway.
Oh my.
It's Friday. We're a little loose on a Friday here.
Yes. Khan acknowledged and leaned into the $2 billion valuation by Forbes that came out Thursday, and said AEW is the most valuable sports startup since the AFL, which eventually merged with the NFL.
What a comparison. We are the most successful startup since a startup that crashed and burned and wound up getting absorbed by the NFL. Hell of a job.
He said the upcoming media rights deal is the most important thing for the company, and that the pay-per-view growth is also important. Do you buy it being $2 million? Would you pay $2 million for
$2 billion? Yeah.
$2 billion? Yeah, $2 billion for AEW.
I know that Punk has his theory that this isn't a business. If someone who was truly business-minded were to take over All Elite Wrestling, and you tell that person, let's think of a hypothetical guy. Let's call him Paul H. And that's too obvious. Let's call him.
Yeah, that doesn't ring a bell, but go ahead. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's say it's this guy Paul.
Okay,
and you tell this guy Paul, we have a roster with Okada and Ospreay, Mercedes Moné. You're going to get Edge. You're going to get Kenny Omega. You're going to get the Young Bucks. You're going to get Chris Jericho. You're going to get Bryan Danielson. You get 2 hours of primetime television every Wednesday night on TBS. You get 2 hours of primetime television every Saturday night on TNT. You get an hour of quasi-primetime 10 p.m. television on whatever channel Rampage actually airs on. It's set on my DVR. I don't remember. You also own the entire media rights library to Ring of Honor. You also have been producing television for 5 years. Dynamites, Collisions, Rampages, pay-per-views that do not exist anywhere else. Your parent company that airs all of your programming has a massive global streaming service. I can completely see why this is a $2 billion valuation company if it were being run to its best capacity by an individual who is money driven, leveraging the marketing, the licensing of those individuals. They don't sell like Penta masks.
Yeah, that's
or Phoenix masks, which is to me beyond baffling that they don't do that. They've released the one video game,
mhm.
not a very good video game, but the biggest thing it was missing were dozens of members of your roster. So the ability to turn the corner and start throwing downloadable content at them, something you should be able to do. Christopher Reed here says MJF
Yeah, sorry.
scarves. I mean, the fine folks at Burberry may have a conversation with you about
Yeah,
that
that's a good
pattern,
point. Fair point.
but I like where your head's at with it. Like they have marketable guys. They had when Luchasaurus was a baby face, they weren't selling Luchasaurus masks, and then the guys they were selling, the acclaimed, just went off television at the
Yeah.
height of everyone's buying Scissor Me shirts like it's DX attire,
Yeah.
and then they're just off television. So I think the idea of a $2 billion valuation is given the assets that they have, given the opportunities that they have, if they were truly money driven, yeah, you could see where you're going to make $2 billion in a landscape where there's only one other global player in this sphere. You have the routing, you have the arenas, you've got a lot of this stuff figured out. This could be a huge money making company if you really cared about making a tremendous amount of money. That is not Tony's sole focus, and good on him that he's able to fund it. But at the same time, how much is this pay per view on Sunday?
I think it's like I want to say it's like $49.99. I think.
It's 50. It's probably $50,
Yeah.
and to a global audience that's used to, I pay for Peacock, it costs me $5 to $10, and I get the pay per views or the premium live events that are on there. You really got to earn that $50. And the thing that just drives me nuts is there was the Ring of Honor pay per view that they did. Eddie
Super card.
Kingston,
Mhm.
the Eddie Kingston Mark Briscoe main event. It was opposite not only SmackDown but the WWE Hall of Fame. It was also opposite Rampage. When you're putting programming up against your own paid content, it's such a strange disconnect. I cannot for the life of me figure out what it is. So yeah, $2 billion valuation, not that far off. Valuations are funny because they look at what your potential best case scenario might be.
Yeah. Hmm. Following up on that too, I didn't have this in the rundown, but Tony Khan was asked if he would ever consider stepping down from creative too. That was the second question asked to him, and he said, "Yeah, at some point," and basically mentioned his age. And he's like, I think he's like
His
41.
age
His age. He said, "I'm
is my
41." So
age.
yeah. So he said, well, he's like, I'm 40. He was speaking to the youth of himself. So he's got plenty of time on the shelf. So he says, so he basically indicated that, yeah, at some point I will have to step down and things like that. But I'm happy and I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now, and basically left it at that. So, to what you were saying about this Paul H character, who I have no idea what you're talking about taking over. I don't know if that would necessarily happen, but yes. So that's something else to chew on, guys. Hey, what else can we chew on, Robert? I'm kind of hungry.
Oh, I don't know. There was other stuff in your
Yeah, I got
gimmick
some
here. I
more
was letting you
stuff.
go, but fine. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me try
Sorry
this.
about that.
What else can you chew on?
Yeah,
Well, guys, eat stress-free this spring with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from a weekly menu of 35 options, including popular options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or Vegan and Veggie. Also discover more than 60 add-ons every week, like breakfast, on-the-go lunch, snacks, and beverages to help you stay fueled and feel good all day long. What are you waiting for? Get started today and fuel up for your springtime goals. The best thing about this thing in terms of scheduling, because this is lunchtime, my wife works in her office. She has a mini fridge in there. She doesn't have a freezer. So you can't really bring frozen foods. This is an item that you're putting in your refrigerator. You're able to heat up in 2 minutes. You're eating better than anything you would find in the frozen food section. And almost everybody, if you're working in an office, you got a mini fridge. If you're like me and you work from home, you got the big, giant, ready-to-go fridge and absolutely no idea how to properly cook anything from scratch. I trust it to the chefs, to the experts at Factor, and I have been eating great. More importantly, guys, we got a special deal for you so you can eat great. Head to factormeals.com/rumor50 and use code rumor50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box. That's code rumor50 at factormeals.com/rumor50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box while your subscription is active. The box itself is really cool. I like the big box, and you take it apart. You got all the
freezer
cooler
packs.
stuff. Oh, it's amazing. These are the weird things we get excited about. But what else are we excited about, Tom? What are we talking about next?
Let's see. Yes. So he also, Tony Khan mentioned he isn't sure of the multiple streaming options to buy AEW pay-per-views will continue after the upcoming 3-month stretch. He didn't say why Warner Brothers Discovery allowed them to now offer the pay-per-views via streaming services other than Bleacher Report domestically. So, that's still in the pipeline, I guess. We'll see. Khan said that they are up year over year. This was the question asked by Dave Meltzer, actually. He said they are up year over year when comparing first quarters, crediting more shows, higher pay-per-view revenue, and increased media rights. So the quarters, he says, are up in regards to that. So any thoughts on that there, Robert, for AEW?
If you're having more pay-per-views, you're going to bring in more money. I hope they explore more streaming options and make it more accessible across the board for people to be able to see their shows. I would personally love, as someone who subscribes to HBO Max Max, get the deal done, put it up there. Mm-hmm. That's what we want to see. Oh, fun comment here from Ken. So will Conrad be joining you guys now that so many of his shows are ending? I know the Orange Show moved over to YouTube. That's still existing, Dom. Mm-hmm. I think the Foley podcast has wrapped up, and the Angle podcast is wrapped up. And there's some news about what's going on with Something to Wrestle. Mm-hmm. I don't think we've seen that official yet. But guys, go tweet Conrad. We'd love to have Conrad come and join us. He's in addition to being the head of the ad-free shows world that we are on, he's a big fan of the show. He enjoys what we're doing here. So, Connie, there's an open invitation. We'll get you a special custom box to put. Well, it'll take a little work, but we'll get a custom box for you, and we'll put you on. I love Conrad.
I do too.
He's the best. You're the best, Dom. What else you got for us here in the last 2 minutes before we wrap this sucker up?
Yeah,
make sure that you push stop when we're done recording.
Right. Well, I will. I'll act like we'll stop, and then we'll keep talking on here. Robert, I do want to close out with this. You guys, you talked about this on.
Kevin Kellum says Billy and the CW scoops.
No,
no. That's not a scoop. It's a whole meal, Kevin.
Yes.
We gotta save that when we got the proper opportunity.
That's right. But I did want to touch upon before we close out about the Nyla Rose controversy. We didn't get to mention that yesterday.
We didn't talk about it. You know what it was? We talked about it on Wrestle Roast. We didn't really get a chance to talk about it here. So, not at all a controversial take that I'm about to say here, and that's mainly that the actions of the Oklahoma legislature are deplorable. The law that they have is antiquated and hateful and stupid. The idea that you cannot have essentially competition between men and women, and they're classifying Nyla Rose as a man, which is, again, sort of backwards, idiotic thinking. Even for Oklahoma, you would expect a little more, just sensitivity to it. It's controversy for people trying to grab controversy. It's dumb. Kudos to AEW for allowing Nyla Rose to have competed there back in December. I hope they go there again and they double down and they put her in the damn main event. I would be booking that if I were them tomorrow, because you make a stand. You Tony Khan stood up for Nyla Rose on the press call, which is incredibly admirable. I don't think anybody views their take as being correct. And odds are, if you view that take as being correct, you're not tuning into this show. Like, this is intelligent fans. These are smart, sophisticated people. We're not weird, backward thinking lunatics on this program. So
let me say too, Nyla Rose handled it very well online and stuff like that. Just like play along. Hey, I'm supposed to be a heel.
Yes, that's the best part.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
best part that Nyla Rose was basically saying, "You're ruining my heel turn here.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a bad guy, damn it."
Yes.
And you know who's not a bad guy? Dominic D'Angelo.
Oh,
Dominic D'Angelo, hell of a producer, hell of a co-host, hell of a guy. He's a mensch. Kids,
thanks.
since you're already looking up all the shows Blue Meanie was recommending to you, look up the word bench. You're gonna know what it means. Dom, where else can the fine folks find you?
Yeah, if you're in Pittsburgh and going to SmackDown, you can find me there tonight. So if you do happen to go there, but be sure to say hi, pop in. I'll be around. Also, though, you can find me on rvdtv.com.
Are you sitting with the plebeians, or are you in a box again like you were at Mania?
I have
I
a
know you
friend.
kept your distance from the average fan. Like you're a
I will be
special
in the
special
thick of
guy.
the action,
There you go.
courtesy of a good friend named Road Dog. So you'll see me maybe around. But yes, rvdtv.com, one of a kind with RVD. We had a great episode we recorded last night. One of my favorite ones we actually did. Covered some cool topics. Rob talked about his connection with the yin yang and all that stuff. And it was really, really insightful. I loved it. One of my favorite segments we did. So be sure to be on the lookout for that Monday at 4:20 p.m. We also recorded Straight Talk with the Boss, Magnum TA, Greg Gagne, covered Hulk Hogan. And it was a fun segment where we
Ooh.
talk about Greg. Here's some of Hulk Hogan's lies that have been perpetuated around
So
the
it's a
internet.
7-hour episode.
It's a pretty fun episode, to say the least. So go to fourhorsemannetwork.com. Check out the Arn Anderson clips we have on there, like Robert mentioned. But also, yes, Straight Talk with the Boss, Magnum TA, Greg Gagne. That'll drop next Tuesday. Be on the lookout for that. Robert, Wrestle Roast was a lot of fun. I'm not even fully through the episode, and I was laughing my ass off. So
Oh yeah. So this week's episode, they took the restrictor plate off of me. I had to be the host for the last little while and be the adult, like I am here,
yes.
where we're a non-profanity show. We're not like that dang Marcus D'Angelo and his
God.
evil cohort Jeff Jarrett.
Nope.
We are, we're here to give you the news and have a good time. But on Wrestle Roast, myself, Scott Chaplin, and Dan St. Germain broke down all the craziness of the wrestling world. It's a fun show. It's some very talented professional comedians. I know Dan is at a major comedy festival this weekend. He was hanging with Mark Maron
How about that?
last night, and he's opening for Ari Shaffir. Like these are big names, big time stuff. It's a blast, and more importantly, you get to hear Dom's incredible production skills
Oh,
at just seamless. And so, on behalf of Best in the Business, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpelos. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
are we off air yet? Can we just
God damn it.